Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to let everyone join the room. Meeting's already being recorded. And then I will we'll start. Just give everyone a second. Okay. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you. I know we haven't had a CWG meeting in a little while. Let me go through the list of attendees that I see here. I'm Kirsten Yucatel. I'm a senior regional planner at SANDAG. Also, we have Emma Majankalda. Please, if I'm mispronouncing your name, tell me so that I can pronounce it correctly in the future. From Caltrans, Eric Luther from APCD, Erica Espinoza-Araiza from Caltrans, Erica Vaca from Caltrans, Keith Greer from SANDAG, Kevin Hendron from, I'm pretty sure, CARB, Madeline Matson, San Diego, Michelle Giron from the Port of San Diego, Michelle Smith from SANDAG, Nick Cormier from APCD, Richard Radcliffe from SANDAG, Rusty Wisman from FHWA, and Sam Samford, also from SANDAG. And we are about to admit John Kelly from EPA. Let's make sure that John got in the... Kendall, can you confirm that John is in? Oh, and Vikrenga is also from Caltrans, joining us now.
They're both coming.
Perfect. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So a little note at the top of the meeting, which is that usually we have the benefit of Lauren running the meeting, and today we only have me running the slides. So hopefully all will go smoothly, but just a warning up top. Okay. So we are not a Brown Act body, but we do welcome the public. I don't believe I see any members of the public, but I do want to pause for just a moment in case we have anyone who would like to make a comment. And let's see. Hearing none, I don't know if we have any member comments or announcements. I'll start with two from SANDAG. One is that attendees of this group received a survey recently, just last week. This is part of our Title VI compliance, where we gather information on representation and diversity within our working groups. And if you have the time to complete it, that would be greatly appreciated. It's all confidential and it's pretty brief, and it just aids us in meeting our federal compliance requirements. My second announcement is about the website. We have largely caught up on the website. We have a few outstanding items. And so now that we're in that position, I wanted to ask this group if you have any thoughts or requests on how the Conformity website that SANDAG is operating could be improved, things you would like to see on it, things you think the public should be able to find. If you could email those suggestions to me, I would really appreciate it. And we're going to make that our next website phase, addressing those issues. Are there any other member comments or announcements? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to meeting minutes. The minutes from the last meeting are attached to the agenda. If you notice anything erroneous or that needs to be corrected, please let me know. The attendees list, unfortunately, is not attached, but I will send it out. Lauren usually coordinates that for me, and she's out of the office due to a death in the family. So I will get those sent around as soon as, or the attendance list sent around as soon as we have it.
Kirsten, I wanted to jump in real quick and let you know that John has his hand up from EPA.
Oh. Please, John. I can't see any of this, so Sam has graciously agreed to make sure that everyone's comments are heard.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Kirsten. I just wanted to ask if you could put that web link in the chat. I don't know if I've got an email about it, or maybe I just didn't notice it or something.
The survey, you mean? Or the website?
Well, the survey, well, actually the survey as well. I wasn't sure if I've seen that survey or not, but definitely the website. You said you're the conformity website.
Right, it's ours. I'll add it when later in the meeting. And I
Thank
can
you.
also share it. It's the survey email went out last week, so I can resend it to anyone. It's an email on with the link inside of it. I'll see if I can cut the link and add it to the chat too.
Yeah, that might help. I don't know if it went to sometimes I forget to look at my other inbox that, you get the focus in Outlook, you have the focused and the other.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes things go to the other, and if it's a large distribution, and it just gets buried.
I will take a look and see if I can get just the link to the survey. Alternatively, I can request just the link and share it with anyone.
Thank you.
Any other comments or announcements? Okay, well, our first agenda topic is the approval of the 2020 SIP, and that is, I'll turn it back to John Kelly from EPA.
Hi, everybody. So I'm so happy to be able to announce that finally the 2020 SIP is fully approved. We approved everything in the SIP submittal except for contingency measures, which will be an ongoing. We basically deferred action on the contingency measure element, and that's something I'll be working with the district and CARB on. It's basically a kind of a problem that is endemic. I mean, there's no ozone contingency measure like silver bullet for any area right now. We're trying to figure out what to do about that, but that's a planning issue. I don't think it should have any effect on what this work group is most probably interested in. I think is the budgets that were approved. Previously they were adequate. So in any documents you're speaking about after April 1st, because this is effective April 1st, and the publication was on March 1st on Friday. If you're interested in taking a look at the Federal Register notice. So yeah, the budgets will need to be described as approved budgets after April, on and after April 1st. And then there's I don't know, we approved the I&M element as well. So if that's any interest to anybody, we approved the I&M element as meeting the 2008 and 2015 standard requirements, and the kind of the performance standard modeling that comes with that was approved as well. And if anybody's interested in that, I just want to point out that CARB gave us this performance standard modeling for all the non-attainment areas, all the ozone non-attainment areas in the state. And we are working on like one single combined action, I believe, for all of those. But because of the timing of San Diego coming first, we kind of yoinked out the San Diego portion of that, and we approved it. So whatever that, whenever that comes along for the rest of the state, don't be surprised if it doesn't reference San Diego, because it's already part of my action. Okay, I'll stop there and field any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Well, thank
no
you.
Questions is fine. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Our next item is Richard Radcliffe with the 2025 RTIP. So I will turn it over to him. I'm going to pull up the next slide, which is just the schedule Richard's going to be discussing, among other things. It is pretty small, but hopefully helpful nonetheless. Okay, Richard.
Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so good morning, CWG members. As she mentioned, we're currently underway with the development of the 2025 RTIP and a draft RTIP schedule for the 2025 RTIP has been included with this item shown here on the screen. The dates that are relevant to this group have been highlighted. Today, March 6th, is the initial consultation with the Conformity Working Group, and we plan to issue the project list for consultation with the group on March 31st and discuss the proposed project list with the CWG on April 3rd. Then on April 18th, that will be the close of interagency consultation, and I apologize, there's a typo on the schedule that shows the 10th, but that's incorrect. Then from May 17th through June 17th, we will issue the 2025 draft conformity analysis for 30-day review and comment period, and then we'll discuss the 2025 conformity analysis at the June 5th CWG meeting. And then on July 26th, the SANDAG board will release the draft 2025 RTIP along with the draft air quality conformity analysis for a 30-day public comment period that will conclude on August 26th. And then on September 13th, the SANDAG board will hold a public hearing on the 2025 RTIP. And then the board will be asked to adopt the 2025 RTIP, the final 25 RTIP, on September 27th. And then with the statewide public comment period beginning on October 1st and federal approval of the 25 RTIP expected on or around December 16th of 2024. And then now I will move on to the financial assumptions that will be used to develop the 25 RTIP. We're being as conservative as possible with the assumptions used in developing the 25 RTIP. And this is in order to mitigate some factors that have the potential impact to affect financial constraint. Some factors considered in these assumptions include the oil market, gas prices, and the labor market. For our local transnet revenue, which comes from SANDAG sales tax measure, recent local and economic trends have been considered. For federal funding, the IIJA, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that was passed in 2021, added significant funding. And while our primary FTA fund sources haven't really changed, the IIJA did include some new formula and competitive fund sources, and we will continue to update the 25 RTIP as new fund types and or fund estimates become available. For the state revenues, we will continue to have projects funded by the Active Transportation Program, State Transit Assistance, and the STIP and the SHOP, the Cap and Trade Program, the Low Carbon Transit Operations Program, and Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program will fund projects for our transit operators. And for local revenues, we will continue to have the Transnet local sales tax, which also includes several funding programs, including major corridors, bike and pedestrian, transit, and environmental mitigation program funding. Transnet also provides funds to our local member agencies for local streets and roads, and our local member agencies will program their available Transnet funds as well as any other funds that they are receiving into the 25 RTIP. And we will also have other program revenues in the 25 RTIP, which include private sector funding, investment earnings, and even long-term debt, including innovative financing such as TIFIA. And that's it for the funding. But before I discuss the public participation plan and outreach, I did want to mention that SANDAG's 2050 regional growth forecast and travel demand model are consistent with the currently adopted 2021 SANDAG regional transportation plan. And the latest emission model and emission budgets are consistent with the adopted state implementation plan, or SIP. And the San Diego region has met its transportation control measure, or TCM, commitments, but continues to program in support of those areas. And next up is our public participation plan and our public outreach. Our public participation plan policy, which is part of our SANDAG board policy, is number 25. The policy was last updated in February of 2018. And under Part B is the section of the policy which discusses what is required for SANDAG's RTIP. SANDAG plans to release the conformity analysis for a noticed 30-day public comment period, and then we will hold the public hearing on the 25 RTIP. And as previously mentioned, that will occur at the September 13th, 2024 Board of Directors meeting. For the last few years, basically since the COVID pandemic, we've been holding hybrid meetings with both in-person and virtual options. And meetings overall have seen an increase in participation from the public. As the 2025 RTIP will be based on the projects included in the 2021 regional plan, the public outreach for the 25 RTIP relies on the strategy and outreach events used for the 2021 regional plan. That concludes what I have for the 2025 RTIP at this time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Richard on the 2025 RTIP? Okay, well, thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Our next item is a presentation. I had asked Eric from APCD if he would come and give this group an update on the recent NAAQS rulemaking by EPA for PM 2.5. So Eric.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Luther with the San Diego Air Pollution Control District. Just going to give a brief summary of the EPA National Ambient Air Quality Standard, or NAAQS, revision for particulate matter 2.5. Okay, next slide. So on February 7th, EPA revised the NAAQS for PM 2.5 from the annual level of 12 micrograms per cubic meter to 9 micrograms per cubic meter. The other PM standards listed were not changed during this review. So EPA sets two types of NAAQS, health-based standards called primary standards, and standards to protect public welfare called secondary standards. So the annual PM 2.5 standard changed was a primary health-based standard. Currently, we're thinking that San Diego's design value is about 10 from the 2020 to 2022 period at our Sherman Elementary School location. We don't have our 2023 data finalized yet, but we're thinking by the end of April that we will have that. There's a good chance that our design value number is actually going to be probably higher or slightly higher at the Sherman Elementary location. And then this is also not accounting for, we had a new station that came online at the Donovan State Prison down by the border that we just don't have a full year of data for yet. So once we have a full year of data at that location, very likely that our design value is going to be higher than the current level. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the reasons for the revision, EPA is required to review the latest scientific studies and either reaffirm or modify previously established NAAQS every 5 years. So during the last review in 2020, EPA reviewed and decided to retain the 2012 PM 2.5 and PM 10 standards without revision. During this reconsideration, EPA concluded adverse health effects from exposure to PM 2.5 are occurring at the 12 micrograms per cubic level standard. So EPA had the obligation under the Clean Air Act to protect public health by revising the standard. Okay, we'll move on. So the expected benefits from this revision. So the reduction of particulate pollution will benefit our EJ communities since they're disproportionately affected by pollution. Nationally, premature deaths and lost workdays will be improved, and up to 46 billion in public health benefits is expected. Okay. Next slide. So this is an overview of the sources of PM, particulate matter in San Diego County. Many different sources contribute to PM pollution. So in our region, the majority of emissions are from the spread out area-wide sources like construction, demolition, residential fuel burning from natural gas and wood, and emissions from cooking. Mobile source contributions come from on-road light-duty vehicles like cars and trucks and aircraft. 12% of the total comes from stationary sources like industrial processes regulated by the air district. Right, next slide. So in this revision, there was also monitoring network revisions. So EPA is modifying the PM 2.5 monitoring network design criteria to include a factor that accounts for proximity of populations at increased risk for PM 2.5 related health effects to sources of air pollution. This will advance environmental justice by ensuring localized data collection in overburdened areas to inform future NAAQS reviews. So we're thinking for the San Diego region, for our network, that we're probably not going to need any new sites or monitoring network sites, just because of our current network that we have through our community air protection program. Right, so next slide. So another the air quality index was also revised during this revision. So EPA is changing some of the breakpoints in PM 2.5 AQI to reflect the revised level of the primary PM 2.5 standard and reflect recent health science on PM 2.5. This update means that the public will be notified of the need to consider behavioral changes at lower levels of PM 2.5, consistent with current scientific evidence. Okay. And then as far as an implementation timeline, EPA has 2 years to designate regions either in attainment or non-attainment of the new standard. 18 months after areas are designated, or up to 3.5 years from the standard being adopted, those areas that were designated non-attainment would need to have their local state implementation plan or SIP plans submitted to EPA. So the local SIP plans show how a region would meet the new standard, which are then forwarded to CARB and EPA for review and adoption. The plans include analysis of rules and other actions the district must take to address the standard and bring the region into attainment. If the district is designated a moderate non-attainment area, it would have 6 years from that designation date to attain the standard, which is at the end of 2032, as we can see there. All right, so next slide. So this is just a map showing the anticipated non-attainment areas using the 2020 to 2022 data. So the dark green areas, which San Diego County is a part of there, it's anticipated that, again, that will be non-attainment for this new revised standard. So again, we're thinking that our current design value is about 10, the new standard being 9. And again, possibly our design value would be higher than 10, even as the data moves forward into the new years. Okay, so from the planning perspective, the biggest change would be the requirement to develop a SIP, or state implementation plan. The SIP would require several tasks. One would be modeling to determine how local, state, and federal regulations will impact PM levels over time. Typically, we rely on the state or other large air districts to provide this level of technical support for our plans. The SIP would also require the district to evaluate San Diego's existing rules to see if they meet the standard of reasonably available control technology, or RACT. Also, potentially new rules for restaurant cooking operations, residential fireplaces, or other sources that contribute to PM could be adopted. The district will also be required to analyze existing SIPs from around the state to ensure the district is considering all feasible ways of controlling PM. Since the district is in attainment with the old standard, these tasks would be a significant additional workload for the district. All right, next slide. It's just there to the questions.
Just a comment more than a question, Eric. Thank you for that excellent presentation. You covered a lot of ground. And from my EPA perspective, I really can't fault anything that you said about any of that. And I actually learned a little bit because it's easy for me to forget that for example, we adjust the AQI when we revise a standard. So this was very helpful, and the monitoring stuff, totally didn't even notice that when the standard was being issued. This all gets done by headquarters, and but so I appreciate everything you described. And just to note, it's kind of I think it's just noteworthy that as I'm putting to bed this ozone, we've been basically working on that ozone plan since 2010 or 2015, after the 2015 NAAQS was issued, the 2015 ozone NAAQS, and to kind of have come to this point where I just finalized that, and then you're announcing this huge new push for PM. It's daunting, but I'll be there for at least the beginning of that challenge. I don't know how long I'll make it. I don't know if I've got another 10 years in me to make it through the end of this thing, but yeah, I'll be here for this. I'll be there to help with whatever I can. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll take any help that we can get. We appreciate the offer.
Diane, I saw that you put something in the chat about the presentation. Eric's presentation was actually included with the materials sent out for this meeting, but I am happy to send it out again. And when it's posted on our website, happy to let you know that. Any other questions?
It looks like Nick has his hand up from APCD.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing really to I just, in terms of, in relation to this group and what, this is what we're talking about, I just wanted to highlight that, at least for SANDAG's purposes, and it should come as no surprise that this is going to be something that, we're going to probably have to keep an eye on for maybe not this regional plan, but the next regional plan that comes down the line, unless this one gets delayed for some reason. In terms of budgets and that sort of thing, we've always kind of looked at, ozone related NOx and ROG budgets in the regional plan. This is going to be a new area that is going to be something that's going to have to be looked at for PM now, assuming we are on the I think I'm correct on that. I don't know. John can correct me.
I think it would. I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because I'm thinking, okay, at some point there will be budgets, but before that happens, we have to designate the area non-attainment, and then make a plan requirement to submit budgets for adequacy and later approval. And of course, until we even have adequate budgets, I'm guessing maybe there'll be a grace period. Actually, isn't there like a 1 year? It's not really called a grace period, but I think there's like 1 year you have to conform. So I think probably from the designation effective date, which is kind of anybody's guess exactly when that'll be. But from the effective date of designations, I think you'll have a 1 year that SANDAG would have 1 year to demonstrate, to show it, to have a conformity determination from FHWA or something. I think that's how it works, isn't it?
I'll perhaps defer to the SANDAG on that one, but it sounds right. It's still early on in this, and I don't want to cause people any great concern right now with it, especially with the regional plan that's currently being developed. Kind of, if that gets done in 2025 as expected, and we're not looking at designations for this standard until 2026. You know, I think for this regional plan, we're probably safe. That's my kind of 30,000-foot view of it. But you know, it's definitely something. But at least I just wanted to highlight it as something that we're probably going to have to just keep an eye on. You know, given that this is, I don't know if we've ever had budgets for PM before. It's part of a regional plan and/or a SIP plan. So that's something I wanted to kind of.
Yeah, and maybe one other minor point is that, like, even before the budgets would have to be, before there'd be any budgets that would be adequate, that would be associated with a plan that you guys that the district would be submitting to EPA through CARB. But SANDAG would of course be able to use interim budgets after that 1 year period, or you know, to meet that 1 year conformity determination requirement. I think SANDAG would probably use interim budgets, which I don't know what the base year would be for this new standard, but I think that we declare a sort of a base year for every standard. So like for PM10, it's like 1990 or something, right? And for this standard, I don't know what it would be, but that'll be something that we'll want to look at in more detail as we get closer to needing some kind of interim test.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on the future of PM 2.5 and all the planning budget intricacies that we'll face?
Hi there, this is Rusty from FTA. Just had a quick question about how this revision to the standard affects interagency consultation, and if there would be a need for project level conformity determinations moving forward. I don't know if you guys have gotten into that. Because I know with the SCAG region, they do it for PM 2.5, so I'm just curious.
That might be something that we'll have to look to you, Rusty, to introduce to us. I don't think we've dealt with that before.
Okay, I know that the SCAG region does it, and other regions in California do it as well. So, but yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be something that requires further discussion. I don't think we've ever gotten into project level type conformity analysis here in San Diego, at least for ozone. So, kind of doubt we would do it for PM, but you never know. So I guess we'll have to kind of think about that a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. And I see Erica has her hand up.
Yeah, hi, Erica Espinosa-Reiser from Caltrans. I'm happy to follow up. Rodney's out today, but maybe we could follow up with some more information about that as well, if it's helpful.
I think that would be helpful, and we could always make this a topic at a future meeting also, with some input on what information everyone might appreciate receiving.
Yes, and for my part, you know, we do have, I do have access to a bunch of colleagues, not only at OTAC, but in Region 9, there's a couple people who, you know, Karina O'Connor works on transportation conformity in general, but we also have somebody who is specifically working on project level conformity. At least I know he was doing Arizona. I wonder if there's somebody assigned to California or if it's the same guy, but I could follow up, because I would think that it's not so much a San Diego question. This will be a question that might be a good topic to just, you know, see what we think, and so we can start talking about this in intelligible terms going forward for all areas in Region 9. I'll do that.
Thank you, John.
I'll let you guys know what I find maybe next time.
Well, and after this meeting, if anyone has any thoughts on topics or questions, please feel free to send them to me. And I'm happy to coordinate gathering those so that as John is getting information and Erica, that we can answer questions that come up and have maybe like sort of a running base of information. Any more questions on PM 2.5? Okay. Our next agenda item is the draft conformity determination for the 2023 RTIP amendment number 13. I see that amendment is missing here. And redetermination of conformity for the amendment to the 2021 regional plan. So this group is familiar with the amendment to the 2021 regional plan and the draft conformity that was circulated. When we went to do the consistency determination for the 2023 RTIP, we became aware that there were some projects where the open to traffic dates had shifted, and there are 10 in total, where the open to traffic date shifted and affected the conformity year that was applicable. So in the draft conformity determination that was sent out the end of last week, all of that information is included, obviously, and the projects that are new, well, not new, but the projects with new open to traffic dates are highlighted in the corridor project list, and there is also an attachment at the end of the conformity determination for each of the RTIP projects that has a new open to traffic date. There was no change in scope, there was no change in funding. So this is really just an effort to be sure that our conformity determinations reflect current updates and are consistent with each other. So that's been sent to this group for comment. Comments, please send them back by the 31st of March so that we can move on with that process. And this is on page 26 of, I believe it's on page 26 of the conformity determination that you've seen, but perhaps this is on page 19 and the projects that have changed description is on page 26. And I just share this. These are the emissions and our budgets, just for everyone to see. And I think unless anyone has questions, I just want to reiterate the date of March 31st and any edits, comments, anything that makes it clearer, better, please let me know, email me, so that we can be sure to revise it as needed and put it out for public comment. So I'll just pause for a minute in case anyone has any comments or questions. Okay, hearing none, we'll move to our next to last item. And again, please just email me any comments, any questions, anything about this. This is just an update, the 2025 regional plan. We are working on the network concept to bring to our board. For this group, we're hoping to bring you ABM 3, probably in the late spring, early summer, and then network information after we have an opportunity to have our board weigh in and finalize those details. But I did want to let you know that that's the next conformity criteria we expect to bring for consultation is the new travel demand model. And obviously I'll keep you updated on that schedule as we move forward. I don't know if there are any questions about the 2025 regional plan. Well, hearing none, our next meeting is April 3rd. And that concludes all of our agenda items. So before I adjourn the meeting, is there any final comments, questions? Thank you for coming. And John, I didn't get the chat, the survey in the chat, but I will send it around again, along with the website. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.